Here, you might know, a while back, Donald Trump said these crowds are all AI. You know what's not AI? Your votes. That's what's not AI. So, good to be back in Pennsylvania, everybody. A thank you to Jody. 24 years of serving our children, this community, as a proud school teacher and proud union member. Give it up for Jody. It's noble work, so to each of you out here, I'm grateful for that. And I have to tell you, I am so incredibly grateful for the ability that this state has done to continuously send incredible people into office. I want to first of all thank Mayor Schemmer here in Erie for that. Look at this. This backdrop is unbelievable, That's coming from somebody who knows a little something about lakes in Minnesota. This is a good one. And look, I think all of you know this. We've got work to do this fall, but the first thing is, and I have to tell you this as someone who had the opportunity to work with this man, travel overseas with this man, watch what he's done for this country. Bob Casey's a national treasure. Send him back. Send him back. Senator Fetterman doing the great work. That's the only guy who dresses down better than me, I'll guarantee you that. That guy's got it. And I just want to say this, someone who I call a dear friend, someone I've watched, and someone who blasted onto the national scene doing the work that needed to be done. When a bridge needed to be repaired, that guy was there. Governor Shapiro, and thank you for him. Incredible. To all those local elected officials who put themselves and their families out here and stand up, thank you for supporting them. Thanks for standing them back. Point of personal privilege, too, a little while ago, I met a young lady back here, 94 years young, Noelle, and 45 years teaching, and she's here. She told me because she believes in the new way forward and what we can do together. So thank you. And on behalf of the Vice President, myself, to each of you, thank you. Look, there are a million places you could be with your time, your talent, and your treasure. You came out here. You came out here to stand next to neighbors, some friends, some new folks you met. You came out here. My God, it's 2 hours from kickoff, people, and you came out here for the NFL season. But you came out here, as the Vice President always says, for a simple and beautiful reason. You love this country. That's why you came. That's why you came. And I am incredibly grateful for it. But look, I always, some of you know, and I got to tell you, I'm just going to go ahead and say, the coach signs warm my heart. Thank you. They warm my heart. A lot of years. I tell people, never close the yearbook. That state championship is as fresh today as it was 25 years ago. But the great thing about it is teaching, coaching, everything. It's that first week, the new start, the opportunities to a new season. Everything's fresh. Clean slate. Anything's possible. All the things are there. We're all undefeated at this point in time with the opportunity to build something better for ourselves. That's what it is, to build something better. So I think all of you are here and you feel it. And for the young people who are here, look, between the last election, COVID, and the last 9 years of this nonsense after that guy came down a gold escalator, they've tried to tell you that this can't be joyful. This can't be fun. This can't be hopeful. This can't be positive about the future. Well, we reject that, and it took Kamala Harris to come onto the scene to tell us this is a joyful thing we're doing. This is hopeful. People are starting to figure this out. From her first day as a prosecutor, then to a district attorney, then to the attorney general of the largest state in the nation, then to a United States senator, and then to vice president of the United States. Yeah, she's qualified. Let me know that. She's qualified. But And she does this work waking up every day, doing it for the people of this country. She's the one. She's the one who took on the predators. She's the one who took on the fraudsters. She's the one who took on the transnational gangs. She stood up to the corporate interest. She never hesitated to reach across the aisle and work together if it was right for the American people. So when she put her name out there, she's running on this idea of an opportunity economy where everybody belongs and everybody has a place. Everybody. And she's not talking about just getting by with 3 jobs and trying to make the rent. She's talking about where we can make this country thrive and people can get ahead. That's the type of economy. And this whole idea, these folks who want to tell us the red state, blue state, big city versus small towns, trying to tell us that we're different or there's 2 different Americas, whatever. I witnessed this down in Savannah, Georgia. We're down there on a bus. We're getting off the bus. It's just her and her husband, Doug, my wife, Gwen, and I. We're getting off the bus. And there's a bunch of our supporters standing there on the side of the street waving flags. And there was folks that were not our supporters. You can always tell them because they all have the same hats on, so you can see who they were. A group of independent thinkers ready to go. But here's what she said. She never missed a beat. She turned around and looked at me and she said, don't ever forget, we work as hard for them and their family and for the things that are right for them as we do for this side. So here's the thing. She's talking about those folks because we're trying to get them because our policies will make their lives better, where everyone gets that shot. She's talking about cutting taxes for the middle class. Look, when you keep hearing this, they want to get this, talking about price gouging at the grocery store. Look, I know something about this. I come from farm country. Our farmers aren't getting rich right now. They're getting $3.90 for corn. Somebody in the middle is, and those folks need to stop price gouging us. That's simple. This idea of owning a home and lowering the cost of owning a home, we know that that is where generational wealth is created. For someone like me, the ability to get in a home, it was the GI Bill. What she's proposing is the opportunity to help folks get that down payment in, and then they can start owning that home and paying that mortgage, making a difference. And we saw something that should have happened a damn long time ago. We finally are negotiating with Medicare to reduce the cost of prescription drugs. Look, I'm fine with people being successful, but drug companies with CEOs making millions and millions and millions while our seniors can't afford insulin, that is obscene and it needs to end, and it will with Kamala Harris. And then just yesterday, she proposed, and we'll put it into law, the ability to start and grow your own business. There's folks here that are entrepreneurs, want to get started. Right now, you can expense $5,000, and that is a tax credit for your startup. Yesterday, Vice President Harris proposed $50,000 to get off the land and get things going. And I know there's too many of you here, like my family went through this, relieving folks of medical debt so they quit reporting you to the credit bureau and garnishing your wages just because you tried to get somebody to stay alive by taking them to the hospital. We can fix it. We can fix it. So look, I'm proud to be part of this fight, and I think for so many of you, and to be clear, we're here in Erie because every vote matters and every single community in this country matters. Yeah. Across this country, I grew up in a small town in Nebraska, a town of a population of 400, working on the family farm. And I tell people this, I had 24 kids in my class, 12 were cousins. So, but you know what? Not a single one of them went on to be a venture capitalist, I'll tell you that. Not a single one of them went off to rip people off in New York City by discriminating against rental housing and things like that. Most of them went on to start businesses, become nurses, teachers, farmers, and do an honest day's work. Those are the folks who need to get a tax cut. Those are the folks who need to get a break. But just like here in Erie, and I know this is true across the country, when you grow up in a town like this or a town like Butte, Nebraska, you learn to take care of your neighbors. You learn to understand that everybody belongs. And when we work for a common good, we have a saying in Minnesota, when we each do better, we each do better. The idea is when every single one of us. So this idea of those values of a shared community, if you work hard, you should be able to earn an honest day's wage. Those animated my public service and Vice President Harris's service. She talks about this often. Where else but in America, from a girl from Oakland and a boy from rural Nebraska can go on and become the next president and vice president of the United States? Those middle class values are what we're going to bring to the White House come November with your help. Now look, I'm not naive. Not everybody sees the world the same way. It's very clear that our opponents in this race see the world differently. Now, I'm going to quote, which I think is a brilliant quote, by your great governor, Josh Shapiro. He often says, and I hear him say this, whenever Donald Trump's talking about America, he's shit-talking America. He does not believe in the promise of America, and he continues to put this country down. Whether it's our veterans or working people, he continues to do it. And you know why he does it? You know why he does that? Because he can only think of himself. He can only think of the service for himself. We saw it. When this guy was in power, first thing he did, he told us this. Remember 9 years ago? Oh, healthcare be simple. I got a plan on the first day. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. The first day plan was to repeal the Affordable Care Act, taking away our protections. And I'll give him this. The second thing he did say he was going to do this. He was very clear about it. He promised he would do it, and he kept his word. He said, with a bunch of his rich friends, he goes, you're super rich, these folks down in Mar-a-Lago, and I'm going to cut your taxes. He did that. He did that. And the third thing he did, he wasn't quite so honest about because he told us he wasn't going to do it. He installed 3 Supreme Court justices who took away our right to control our own bodies. He did all that before he tried to violently overthrow our democratic government, too, by the way. In an election that he got his butt whipped fair and square and lost. It's that simple. It's that simple. Look, I'm not telling Pennsylvanians anything you don't already know. Under Donald Trump, you lost 275,000 jobs during the Trump years. Under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, with Josh Shapiro, you gained back 550,000 in the last 4 years. With the leadership of your elected officials here, you've got some of the lowest unemployment in history here in Erie. So you know, we can't afford 4 more years of this guy. What I will say is good about this one is, he's been very clear about this. He's promised to pick up right where he left off the last time. But I will say this, he's learned a little something, and it's going to be much, much worse if he gets the opportunity. What's really good is we don't have to guess what he's going to do because they wrote it out in a 900-page manual called Project 2025. This is where, film this one or whatever so you tell your relatives because, look, we all got them. We know we got to keep talking to them. He said what he would do. And I believe him. He kept his promise on this. It's the one thing he said, he kept his promise. He's going to cut taxes for the rich. His tariffs will have a $4,000 a year tax hike on all of you. There's not a single economist in the country or any banker or anybody else who knows anything about economics does not believe the tariffs he's proposing will not fall right on you in the products that you buy. It's exactly the way it works. That's just facts. He said he'd clean out all the experts in government, all the dedicated public servants who don't serve the elected officials, they serve you. He's going to clean them out and put his loyalists in to make sure they do it. And just to be clear, I know he's a little confused on this issue about women's rights to make their own choices. But I want to be very clear. He does not trust women, but women do not trust him. He will ban abortion. And here's the thing. Cutting taxes for the wealthy, taking away your personal bodily autonomy, making it more difficult for the middle class, raising the cost of insulin. The question I keep asking, and I want Republicans and I want Donald Trump and J.D. Vance to answer, who the hell is asking for this agenda? Who's asking for that agenda? I don't think those folks standing out here in the red hats want that agenda because it's damn sure going to hurt them. No one's asking. No one's asking. So here's the deal. He openly says these things that we need to talk to our relatives about. And all of you know, I need to talk to my relatives too. Trust me on this. Nothing makes you more Midwestern than having your family be on this stuff. But look, they're talking about cutting Social Security and Medicare, repealing the Affordable Care Act and protections like this. And I keep saying this, repealing and destroying Social Security and Medicare. If you're a billionaire, you don't give a damn about Social Security or Medicare. If you're my mom who has to pay her heat bill and her food with it, it matters a lot. The vast majority of people care about this. They care about it. And I'm going to give a big shout out. You saw AFL-CIO up here. You saw teachers union. You saw building trades up here. Look, we know who built America. It was union labor built America. And when unions were at their strength and their strongest and more people were in them, the middle class was better off. It has been a 40-year attempt by those of the wealthiest to undermine labor unions. But guess what? The popularity of labor unions is higher than at any time in our lifetime, right now. Right now. So it doesn't surprise me that Donald Trump did not do a damn thing on Labor Day. He took the day off, which he should thank organized labor for that day off. If I were him, I would be hiding down in Mar-a-Lago too. I wouldn't want to face working people. I wouldn't want to look them in the eye and tell them why their work doesn't matter, why it should be harder to unionize, why he and his folks have undermined middle America. Look, people are angry for a reason. And this Project 2025 thing, I got to tell you, they're trying to run from it. They continue to try and deny it. But here's what I've said very simply on this. I coached football for enough years to know if you take the time to make a playbook, you're going to use it. You're going to use it. So they took the time to do it. And I will say this. J.D. Vance talks about being from... Look, he should know. He talks about where he came from. He talks about where he was at. But I'll have to tell you, he did say this. He said, there's a lot of angst and people are angry in middle America. Hell yes we are, because people like him gutted middle America. The bankers and the robber barons gutted middle America. They shipped our jobs out. So look, you go off to Yale, you get a philosophy major, you write a best-selling book, trash the very people you grew up with. Just don't come back to Erie and tell us how to run our lives. Don't do that. Don't do that. And look, you, the folks here with a little less hair and a little grayer, I want to be very clear about this. This country needs two functioning political parties at least. We don't need one and a cult on the other side. We do not need that. So I'm going to give due to the Republican Party of our grandfathers and fathers. A Republican Party, when they talked about freedom, they stood with our allies and wouldn't abandon them. But look, that's not these guys. When they talk about freedom, they mean that freedom for corporations to be able to abuse their workers and pay whatever they want. Banks should be free to foreclose or to take advantage of customers. And the one that they want to talk about, and again, send this to your relatives, folks who believe that government should stay out of their lives or whatever. These are the guys that want government to be big enough to fit in your bedroom, to fit in your exam room, to fit in your library. They want them to be at each of those places. You heard it, and I know you've heard me say it before on this. Look, we come from places, I respect differences of opinion. We don't have to agree on everything. We might not make the same choice you make for your family, but you know what? That's your choice to make. And the thing that makes communities work really, really well is that golden rule. Mind your own damn business. Mind your own damn business. The irony of these guys talking about they want to get rid of government or whatever, they want to make government so big they know what books you read. They want government to be so big they want to create, and this is in Project 2025, a national tracking of pregnancies. Yeah. Well, here's the good thing. I think it's important for us to know what we're at, but I don't think it inspires people to run against something. But I do think we need to be reminded who these folks are, because they're going to try and slip out of it every step of the way. They're already somehow, Donald Trump said, women are with me. They support me. I support their... Well, look, we need to be clear what we stand for. When Kamala Harris talks about freedom, she believes that you should be free to make your own health care decisions. Simple as that. We believe education should be a ticket to the middle class, not a ticket to crippling debt. We believe we should have the freedom to drink clean water and breathe clean air. And yeah, we believe in the freedom to send our kids to school without being shot dead in the hall. The news cycle moves on within a day from what we saw yesterday down in Georgia. Kids going to school the first week of school, excited. Now we have 4 dead. So our hearts go out to the 2 students and the 2 teachers who were killed. Their families will be in mourning. There's many injured in Winder, and that community will never be the same. I said this, and all of you here, both as a teacher and as a student and as a dad, I loved back to school season. Time of hope, excitement. Now for those kids, it'll always be a time of sheer terror, and that'll be a memory that they'll hold forever. And it's a reminder to the rest of the country, we've got work to do, and I, for one, am sick and tired of hearing about thoughts and prayers rather than actually doing something about it. And I say this to all of you. I know guns. I'm a veteran. I'm a hunter. But we can't let them make this just about the Second Amendment. I defend the Second Amendment. But our first responsibility is to keep our kids safe. Yesterday, Vice President Harris said it doesn't have to be this way. And I can tell all of you, as someone who's owned guns my whole life and hunted, I can tell you I can remember it with such clarity. I sat in my office in D.C. when I was a member of Congress, and it was shortly after the Sandy Hook massacre. And I sat in there with all those parents. And at that point in time, I was an NRA guy. That's many of us grew up with that they were gun safety. And I was the only one who took the meeting with them. They tried to get meetings with people who wanted to do this. And to sit in there and listen to these parents, I think about it today. My son, this week, started his senior year of high school. So, thank you. Thank you. And it's bittersweet for me because those killed at Sandy Hook would have been entering their senior year too at the same time. And those parents now are without those. So look, we've got something to vote for, not just against. We've got a better future, a better way forward, a way that makes sure that we're not just after the fact spending a day or so talking about this and not doing anything about it. There's things we can do. Other countries don't have to live like this. Other countries have figured this out. So look, I keep talking about this. I hear folks say, tell us what you're going to do. All right, we'll continue to tell you what we're going to do. To all of those young folks, to everybody out there, get your phone out, record this one. This is the one you're going to send to those undecided friends. I don't know. I'm not just sure. I don't know. I really am thinking about that we need to give a tax break to billionaires. And I keep thinking about this. They send people out. They send people out to bars in the swing states. Yeah, somebody's sitting at the bar in Pittsburgh tonight, and they're sitting around there saying, you know what we really need to do in this country? We need to ban George Orwell books. That's what we need to do. No, that's not what they're saying. They're saying we need to pay people a fair wage. We need to make sure that health care is accessible. We need to make sure we're tackling things like climate change. So here's what Kamala Harris is going to do. She is going to give a tax cut, but not to the billionaires, to the middle class, to the middle class. If you're looking to buy that home, she's going to make it more affordable to get in that home. And if you're getting squeezed by prescription drugs, you don't have to guess because she's already done it. We're going to tackle big pharma and reduce the cost of those drugs. And if you're going to start that small business, you're going to get help on the front end and cut the red tape to give you a chance to achieve the dream you want to achieve. And here's what I'm going to say. If you're in a union or if you're not in a union, we're going to make it easier to get in one of those and collectively bargain for better wages. And amen. And if you're dependent on Social Security or Medicare covered by the Affordable Care Act, we're going to make sure it's safe and sound. We're not interested in cutting taxes for the wealthy and then raising the Social Security retirement age. We're not interested in cutting taxes for the wealthy and undermining Medicare. We're not interested in listening to them tell us, I got a good plan on day one. It'd be easy to fix Medicare. Oh, for God's sakes. It's not going to be, and you know it. All right. No matter who you are or where you live, Kamala Harris is there to make sure you make the decisions in your life that's right for your life, for the choices that you and your family make. This is, and I listen to this, that big part of the presidency is, and being in this is who you're going to fight for. I did see this that Donald Trump was in Pennsylvania, was he not, last night? Harrisburg. There's a saying in politics, if you're explaining, you're losing, but I want to say this. I did watch part of it last night. 11 times, Donald Trump explained to us that he wasn't weird. Okay. I didn't say it. I think we might be getting under the skin there a little bit. But look, when I said that, this isn't about name calling or anything. I was pointing out it's weird to be obsessed with people's personal lives. It's weird to be obsessed with people's healthcare choices. It's weird to continue to talk about sharks and batteries and boats and things like that. What's not weird is tell us what you're going to do about healthcare. Tell us who's going to get a tax cut. Tell us that you're going to protect reproductive rights. Tell us how you're going to tackle climate change. So look, Kamala Harris wakes up every morning thinking about those things, thinking about ways to make your life easier for hardworking people that are just trying to get by. Nobody's asking for a handout here. Nobody's asking to get by easy. Nobody's asking for the easy way out. But for so many of us, my family included, sometimes life throws things at you. So I'll guarantee you one thing. For my family, Social Security survivor benefits was a damn good thing to be there. I'm glad it was. For others, it might be nutrition programs. Those are the things that give people a hand up. Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, I guarantee you they're not thinking about that every day. I guarantee you they're thinking about themselves. First thing they do, find the camera and then whine about how they're being treated. Look, that's not how any of us live. That's not how any of us live. So I'll tell you. Well, you know it. It's TV star we've got. This 9-year run of this TV show on the other side is so damn old. Let's turn the channel. Let's cancel the damn thing. Let's move on to something else. Look, Erie, you know what's out there, but here's the great part about it. And this is why we should, because it was paid for in blood. There are billions of people around the world could not imagine gathering as free people in a beautiful park to decide how we're going to go. They're going to decide the direction. You're going to decide which direction we're going to go. This divisiveness and this anger, we get to decide. We're tired of it. I'm sick of it every day. Remember when you used to actually go weeks or months without even talking about the damn president? That would happen because people were doing their job. People were getting things done. We were moving forward and tackling problems. That's a future we want to be. That's a new way forward. That's the way we get this done. So look. This is an incredible privilege. Look, you had to come out here. It's hard work. You've got places to go. You're worrying about the kids. You're looking and saying, damn it, finish up. I got to go watch football. In honor of that, I get it. I get it. But this is our job to protect the democracy. And I guarantee you, when history writes about this time, every one of you's here, everyone who's been on the phone, everyone who's doing the work necessary, when we wake up and we've won this thing, you're going to be part of that to say, I made a difference. I made a difference. So, in honor of that, I'm going to give you the Coach Walz pep talk because we're about at kickoff time here. Look, Pennsylvania and Minnesota have a lot in common. We got a lot of beautiful lakes. We get a lot of snow. Okay, Super Bowl rings we do not have in common, but we will get one someday. But we share a history. It was our people who built this country. It was the miners of the Iron Range of Minnesota who pulled that taconite from under the ground that fueled the blast furnaces of the steel mills, that built the steel, that built the tanks, that liberated Europe from Nazi tyranny. That was our people. That was our people. Those same steel mills forged the steel that built the roads, the bridges, and the skyscrapers of this great country from coast to coast. And it'll be those same miners that put green steel in the ground that continue to create good union jobs, that continue to build this country. It's who we are. We're optimistic people. For Christ's sakes, you get 10 feet of snow here and you just plow it and smile. That's what you do. We walk on water half the year in Minnesota because we are optimistic. We understand that it's about coming together. It's about pushing back the pessimism and looking towards the optimism. And here's our deal. We are in the big game. All of us. Fourth quarter, we're down a field goal. Clock is ticking. Yeah, I know some of you are watching. And we're the underdogs at this point. But that's okay. Our people have always been the underdogs. Our people have always known how to do the work. Our people have always faced long odds. For goodness sakes, we carved a life out of a cold, harsh climate, and we made the best standard of living of any place in the world. And we did it. We did it by this beautiful tapestry of folks from all over making it work. So look, here's our job. The ball's in our hands. This is our time. Our job's to do the blocking and tackling of politics. Inch at a time, yard at a time, phone call at a time, door knock at a time, $5 donation at a time, one rally at a time, whatever it takes. So look, we're in the game. The momentum's behind us. It doesn't matter if it's a beautiful night in Erie. Doesn't matter if it's in Las Vegas with 109 degrees. It doesn't matter if it was in a field in western Wisconsin. People all across this country are coming out and saying, enough with the pessimism, enough with the shit talk in this country, and let's find a new way forward. And for each of you, here's the incredible opportunity. Look, it would be easier if we didn't have to do this. It would be easier if these guys wouldn't undermine our system, if they wouldn't lie about elections, if they wouldn't put women's health at risk, but they are. So it's a privilege for us to do the fight. And here's what the real privilege. Standing in this park with this many people, it is very possible and most likely probable the road to the White House will go through this park in Erie, Pennsylvania. And politics is not an end, it's a means to an end. I talk about this often. We don't win elections to bank political capital to win another election. We win elections to burn political capital to improve lives, to make people's lives easier. You've got the opportunity now to turn this momentum into activism, into a get out the vote effort, into winning an election. And when we wake up on that 62nd day, we got 61 days left. And to your neighbors out there, and to the folks who say, I'm sick of this, that's what they want to do. They want to make people sick of this. They want to believe the system doesn't work. They want to believe you should just stay home. That's what the other guys want. So people tell me, I'm just not that into politics. You know how you answer them? Too damn bad. Politics is into you. It's into you. It's in your bedroom. It's in your every aspect of your life. So look, and don't think these guys don't have plans. And I'm going to say it after what the hell happened in Georgia yesterday. They spend their time banning books instead of banning assault weapons. That is crap. That's crap. That's not where we go. So look, 61 days. We're a hardy people. We know how to do work. We're up against some odds, and we've been there before. I continue to tell people this. Now is the time to do the work. Sleep when you're dead. There will be time for that then. Do it now. We love this country. We love our democracy. We believe everybody should have a fair shot. We believe in the freedoms to make your own decisions, and we believe in a hopeful future. So this place, we get to make this happen. And as the next president of the United States often says, when we fight, when we fight, when we fight, let's go, Erie.